Wait a minute.
Hear this.
Birdy num num. Birdy num num. Birdy num num.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another Birdy Num Num podcast. It is good to be here. We are doing video this week. I am practicing with video, so watch if you want. Otherwise, please do switch to the audio version on Google Podcasts or iTunes, and please write a review. But welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Birdy Num Num podcast. I hope you're having a good week. I know I am having a good week. This is so strange looking into a camera and doing my podcast, but it is good to be here. I've been having fun. Did a show at B-Flat a few weeks ago and also yesterday. Writing a new show for the techies, for the techie people, the engineers, the IT engineers, the office folks, the office junta, as we say here in India. And today I want to talk about something that, you know, I worked in Accenture for 10 years, almost 10 years. Before that, I worked at an antivirus company. You might know it. It's probably the only one most people know. And yeah, I studied computer science, did all that. And it's so interesting. A lot of people come up to me and they're like, you know, how do you find time? Or, you know, how do you plan your day out? And I've done another podcast about working from home, which I'll put up in a few weeks. But mainly this concept and this notion of you can only do one thing at a time. What? Excuse me? I don't understand where this came from. We are in a society where we are multitasking almost more than we are tasking. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I feel like multitasking is the new norm. Like, is it called single tasking or where you just do something? But nobody is not multitasking these days. Because if you have one of these folks, oh, my screen's dirty. But if you have one of these, and my wife got me this Captain America thing, which looks so pretentious for an NRI to have a Captain America. But like, where did this concept of not being able to do more than one thing come from? And I get it. I know that, you know, earlier on it was get a good job and focus on that job, or go to school and study really hard and work really hard. But the crazy thing about today is you can literally do so many things. And I'm not saying, you know, jack of all trades, master of none, although a lot of people like to say that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't dedicate and focus on, you know, if you are practicing the piano or something, you know, do that for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day and get really good at it. But this whole concept of, look, can you only speak one language? Although a lot of people do that, you know. Can you only, you know, play one sport? No, a lot of people have played multiple. Can you only be good at one subject? No. By definition, your family wants you to be good at maths, be good at science, be good at, you know, English, be good at whatever. So where did this concept of you can only do one thing come from? It freaks me out. I'm not trying to be some, hey guys, but like, I'm saying it really freaks me out that we live in a time where it's never been easier to learn a new skill. You know, take a course on Udemy, or my friend Varun's one that he started, or a bunch of other online courses. You can learn anything, anytime. You can learn sitting in traffic. One thing I hate the most about people these days who, you know, sit in a bus on their way home from, like, you know, a 1 hour traffic jam on their way home from work, and they'll just on their cell phone, especially in India where data is so cheap, they'll like just listen to music, or they'll just like watch random stuff online that has no informative value. I mean, there's even infotainment, which I would even think this podcast is in some way, but like, you are wasting time listening to songs, you know. And then they'll be like, I had no time to learn French, or I had no time, you know, man, how do you have time to do comedy? All I have time for is my IT job. Really? Or your finance job? Really? Or your media job? Really? In that 1 hour you were sitting on the bus, in the cab home, all you did was listen to music or watch Narcos or Game of Thrones, which this season has been a little interesting. I like it. People are complaining, but I think it's great. It pisses me off, dude, because it's never been easier to multitask. In fact, multitasking is the new norm. And for people who are sitting there like, yo, I could never, like, dude, how many of us, okay, how many of you have heard this, where you ask somebody, or somebody asks you, they're like, hey man, how's it going? And they're like, oh, bro, work has been nuts, bro. Bro, sorry I didn't get back to you. Work has just been crazy. Bro, I'm so sorry. You know, that email you sent me that would have taken 4 seconds to respond. Work has just been so nuts. Even though I spent 19 hours on Instagram last week, according to my iPhone's usage statistics. Android had it earlier. Okay, whatever. I don't care. But like, we have so much time, yet all of society, all of these apps, all of what we hear is about there's never enough time. Make it more convenient, make it more easy, make it more, dude, there's an app for everything. There's an app to get you a girlfriend or a boyfriend. There's an app to deliver your food, which is why I'm recording this podcast, because I'm waiting 30 minutes for my chicken wings. There's an app to literally do anything else you want to do. Literally, there is an app. Dude, in Bangalore, there's a company called Dunzo. No association, all right? I did a show a few weeks ago, and at the show, somebody in the audience, I may have already talked about this. I apologize if I did. Listen to my other podcast. But I asked somebody, I was like, what's the craziest thing you've seen somebody do? And that app, Dunzo, sorry for not explaining, actually what it is if you need a pack of smokes or you want to send something from point A to point B, or you need somebody to like, you know, pay your electricity bill, whatever errand you have, you just type it out, they'll agree to it and they'll do it, right? And I asked somebody, I was like, what's the craziest thing you've seen? And this girl was like, somebody dunzoed, which is their term. They're trying to be like, you know, they Swiggied or they Netflix. They're trying to like, what's that? We're like the verb, and the company name ends up becoming the verb, and that ends up becoming like success. Like, don't pass me a cola, pass me a Coke, right? As I drop this pen. So somebody basically had, what was it? And I apologize if I said this. Oh yeah, somebody called somebody home on this app to send a package from the second floor to the third floor. What? Like, how lazy are we? And I hate this. This is one of the things that bothers me about India so much. And I know it's so hypocritical as I keep dropping my pen. As an NRI especially, who obviously might seem like a hypocrite for saying this, but this is India. Nothing more Indian than hypocrisy. So one thing that bugs me so much is when like lazy stoner middle class kids or lazy people in general will literally, like, you know, these people, like, there'll be like a spot of dirt on the floor and they'll just like look like, oh, I gotta wait for the maid to come tomorrow to clean that up. Or you could just clean it yourself, right? And somebody had an app call a guy to their house to send a package one floor below to the top. Why? How lazy are we as a society? How much convenience is bad convenience? You know what I mean? Can you have too much convenience? I think you can, because then these same people will spend like all this money on personal trainers or going to gyms or complaining about what they're eating. Yet the answer is right in front of you, dude. It's never been easier to do many things. I know I went off on a tangent, but it's never, ever been easier to do multiple things. This bugs me so much, dude. Like, I don't have time. You have time. You can learn something that would have taken $1,000 course or going to college 20 years ago. You can learn it in 10 minutes on the computer. You know, whether or not you want to be good at it is a different story. How much time you want to put in? Do you want to have a schedule? Do you want to wake up early? Those are all secondary, but it's never been easier to multitask, you guys. Like, honestly, those of you who say that same bullshit excuse of just work has been crazy. Has it really been crazy? Like, you know you have time. You know you have time to call your mother back. I know I'm the worst at this too. Like, you know you have time to, like, you know, spend time reading about some other skill you want to learn. You know work is not that bad. Like, people who say work has been crazy, like, I don't know a single person, I'm being honest, I don't know a single person who walks into their job at 9 a.m. and does not take a breath until 5 p.m. and only eats lunch at their desk and literally has no time to, like, talk for 10 minutes here or web surf here or, like, look at Instagram here. Who does anybody have this job? Like, and I know some people, oh, I'm an investment banker, I'm on the trading floor every day or this, that. Come on, bro. You have time. You have time. You have a lot of time. So this whole concept of, like, there's not, dude, I'm going to tell you guys a secret, okay? When I was working, it's not even a secret, but when I was working at Accenture, right, I actually felt more productive when I had a job distracting me 9 to 5 at my secondary job. And what I mean by that is a lot of people, and I highly recommend this is the Indian way, which is never quit your job outright. Never jump into something, you know, into the deep end right away. No, be smart about it, dude. Okay, if you want to do stand-up comedy, you want to do photography, you want to write a book, If you want to have a startup idea, maybe that other Dunzo thing, or maybe you want to build a video game, or you just want to do another career. You're in IT and you want to move into finance or medicine. Do your IT job, do your office job, make your 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh a month, whatever it is. When you get home, instead of watching Netflix for 3 hours, complaining and seeing what other people are doing on social media and digging yourself into a grave, why not spend 1 hour practicing photography, learning about aperture or ISO or lenses or focus or framing, or take an hour and learn about how to speak Spanish or Tamil or Hindi or English on a thing like Udemy or some other website, or take a bunch of flashcards and freaking put them out on your desk and like have some fun, or record a podcast. Like, I don't know, dude, Netflix and chill is like a funny meme, but it's actually Netflix and it's actually Netflix and kill your dreams, I might say, because a lot of people don't realize this. There's so much time. It's never been easier to multitask, dude. You could honestly learn a skill on your drive home, in your cab, in your office shuttle. Hell, even driving, although don't, but you could listen to something, practice words, repeat after me, ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? I don't know, like whatever it is, you could do that. But people who blindlessly listen to not blindlessly, but who blindly follow, or play video games or watch things or just listen to music, they're not realizing, dude, infotainment is a thing because people realize they can be productive and enjoy themselves. So the thing I was trying to say before I let my own self get distracted, never let yourself get in the way of yourself, guys. Come on. That's a quote I read, which I love. I don't know who said it. If you know, comment below, whatever. But honestly, one of the things that was ironic for me is when I had a job and I was working in IT from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., 7 p.m., whatever, I was actually more productive at my second job, which was comedy, because I took advantage of that time. I was like, wow, I only have this slot now from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. to focus on this. Or that free time I had in the office, I'd be like, wow, this free time is rare to let me close the blinds of the conference room and write my jokes out on the whiteboard and pace around the table and practice, because that is actually how you use your time effectively. And now when I don't have that job and I do comedy and I do corporate shows and I write a book or whatever, it's such a distraction, dude, because the TV is right there. This thing is with me all the time. I don't have somebody kicking my ass into an office where I got to be on my best behavior. And as a result, time feels like a commodity that I take for granted. So it's so strange to say, but I feel like even some of the best comedians you'll see coming up now, the best photographers, the best people on Instagram, these are people who are like, look at my friend Atul Khatri, great guy. Sweet guy, has 2 kids. And why is he doing so well and working so much harder, it seems, than people who don't have kids or who are a 22-year-old college slacker or, somebody with no responsibility? Because the free time he does have, he uses it. So if he has 2 free hours a day, in those 2 hours, he is doing the amount of work that would take 10 hours to some stoner slacker kid who's just treating this as a hobby or as a pastime. So I'm just saying, guys, you really need to make the most out of your time. And this whole concept of you can only do one thing is absolute, utter horseshit, okay? Once you find something you're good at, I always use comedy as my example, but if it's a startup, if it's a business, hell, even if it's dating, whatever it might be, then of course the real hustle begins, and then you focus on that. But for the majority of you who definitely want to do something other than what it is you're doing, you can easily do it. Go to any IT show, any IT company, and you'll see we have all the database developers in the world, and then half these guys are freaking playing Led Zeppelin, and they're killing it because they spend their free time doing things they also enjoy. And because they only have so much time outside of work, they really crush it. I know plenty of office guys who are way better guitarists than plenty of full-time guitar players. Imagine that. And the same goes for comedy, same goes for photography, same goes for writing. Hell, same even goes for people in the office. I know plenty of people who are in a job they hate in finance, but are really good at building websites on the side as a part-time hobby, better than people who build websites full-time. I mean, this is the world we live in. And this whole concept, this whole notion of, man, I'm sweating already, you guys. This whole concept of you can only do one thing at a time is bullshit. shiznit. That'll remove the censors from explicit podcast. But I really recommend for anybody, like, let me know your life hacks, how you go about it, how you do it. But there is always time to do things, and it's up to you how you're going to use your time effectively. But this whole concept of just do one thing is BS. So I hope this helped you guys. I wish somebody shook me. I wish somebody would shake me every day to be like, you could have done way more today. Or I'm not to beat you up or to like make you feel bad, but so many of us faff around. Faff is a word I love using. F-A-F-F. I made a short video with my wife a few years ago about it. But F-A-F-F is what I term for basically just doing this mindlessly. Try to be productive. Try to have fun. Too much convenience can be a bad thing. If you want to drive somewhere, try walking somewhere. You know, if you want to type something out, try writing it on paper. But I'm just saying, you guys and girls, when I say guys, you guys know it means everybody, right? There's always time to do things. So get out there, use your time effectively. I hope you listened or watched this as a kick in the butt to do something, or at the very least, it's better than just watching some crap on Netflix again and again. And Game of Thrones, by the way, I love that episode. I actually like Game of Thrones this season, although this is not the title of this podcast. Game of Thrones is a lot of fun. And it's ironic I end this podcast talking about how I'm going to go watch the next episode of Game of Thrones, but I am. So anyways, you guys, let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Every week I try to have a guest. Every week I try to also not have a guest and just talk to you guys directly. And it's been a lot of fun for me, and the numbers are growing, which is awesome. I'm so happy with your messages and your suggestions. So see you guys soon. Thanks.
Birdy num num. Birdy num num. Birdy num num.
That's right.